Sometimes what we call quiet love doesn't hide in words at all. It hums at the edge of awareness, a glance that lingers half a second longer, a voice that softens when it says your name, a presence that somehow opens the right door at the right time. Carl Jung reminds us the psyche moves like an ecosystem, the part we show the world persona and the part we push into the dark shadow are constantly compensating for each other. So if you've ever felt there's something here and couldn't name it, it may be your unconscious speaking its own shy, precise language. Today we won't chase loud confessions. We'll learn to hear the psyche's subtle signals, to understand others better, and more importantly, to understand ourselves. Before we go further, let's anchor expectations. The signs you're about to hear aren't proof. They're probability cues, little tiles hinting that something is moving beneath the surface. A single signal is easy to misread. What matters is a cluster of signs recurring across different contexts with a steadiness you can actually observe. And because psychology is always a story of context, temperament, introvert, extrovert, communication culture, the setting of work or friends, we hold our conclusions with humility. This caution doesn't kill romance. It invites feeling to step into the light with dignity. Jung called projection the bridge we throw onto another person when we aren't ready to face what we don't want to see in ourselves. We may idealize someone or tease and diminish them as a way to hide. Noticing projection isn't about stripping the other person bare. It's about calling the bridge back so we can meet ourselves again. Likewise, the persona, the mask we wear to be accepted, can make us act cool, joke too hard, or chill our feelings right when they're about to show. These masks aren't lies, they're protection for something delicate inside. Seeing the mechanism is the first key. We'll also meet moments of synchronicity, those meaning-dense coincidences Jung described as a non-causal link between an outer event and an inner state. This is not about sending energy waves. That kind of mechanistic language can flatten a deep experience. When a name appears the very day you're wrestling with a feeling or two, people cross paths after a long, quiet inward stretch. The real question isn't who attracted whom, but what meaning is asking to be recognized. If we listen with alertness instead of superstition, synchronicity becomes a gentle mirror, not a verdict. Then there are dreams. For Jung, dreams compensate. If we're too certain by day, a dream pours in caution by night. If we deny feeling by day, a dream may place the person in an ordinary scene that still leaves a resonance. Dreams don't prove someone is thinking of you. They show you your own tilt. If a face keeps returning, perhaps the soul is asking, what part of myself do I abandon in this person's presence? Write the dream down, circle the symbols, add a few lines of free association. You'll start to hear the deeper voice. We'll also walk through attachment, a framework outside Jung, but helpful for reading the pursue-withdraw rhythms, the seek-avoid loops, and those disguised emotional tests. With anxious coloring, people may step back right after stepping close, or toss a playful jab to check warmth. Here, ethics matters. Instead of staging tests, we practice clear, gentle speech because no feeling grows in a climate of suspicion. Returning to Jung, we'll place the push-pull beside early complexes, unconscious patterns from first relationships to see the unique history under each story. No one is confusing for no reason. Every defense is an attempt at self-rescue. And yes, there are micro-gestures, the gaze that's a shade longer than polite, a voice that drops a register on your name, hands that adjust clothing when you arrive, or light mirroring, speech rhythm, walking pace, shared taste as if an invisible flock wanted to fly in formation. All worth noticing, but remember something simple. People can be kind, empathic, or just nervous. Don't crown a lone signal. Look for a small cluster repeated consistent and proportional to the context. That doesn't strip the mystery, it gives the mystery a chance to become real. Here's the upgrade you deserve from the start. Instead of chasing a long checklist, we'll move through 5 Jung-inflected modes so we keep the contemplative depth and have a method. Projection and persona shadow. We look at the other to find what we haven't owned yet. Push-pull and complexes, the heart's sway always has a history. Quiet care and boundaries. How to tell kindness from rescuing and give/receive in a healthy way. Dreams and synchronicity, doors you can't force but that open with patience. Mature communication, bringing feeling into daylight with clear, respectful, accountable words. Across the journey, we keep 3 small vows. First, conceptual honesty name, what's Jung and what belongs to other frames. Second, epistemic humility, beware confirmation bias, we easily see what we want to see. Third, respect for boundaries. Every interpretation stops at the other person's freedom. If you want something to live, you'll ultimately have to ask for it plainly. You may notice something unexpected as you study the signs that seem to point at them. You keep meeting yourself, and that meeting is what changes everything. The tone you'll hear isn't fortune-telling, and it isn't a bag of mind-reading hacks to win a flirting game. It's the voice of a humanistic psychology, neither over-mystifying the mysterious nor stripping it of depth. When you learn to see a look through the lens of projection, to read a coincidence as a question seeking meaning, or to hear a dream as a balancing letter, then if there is feeling, it will find a courteous way to introduce itself. And if there isn't, you still leave with a worthy gift, a clearer mirror for yourself. If you're ready, we'll start where most stories lose their way: projection. Many romances don't fail from lack of passion. They fail because each person falls in love with their own shadow on the other's face. Let's see what we've placed on the person in front of us. Brilliant hopes or quiet fears, and learn how to call them back so that when we say "I like you," we're no longer speaking for the exiled part of ourselves. From there, any sign finally has a chance to become a real meeting. Let's start where our eyes land on the other person. So many love stories in America ignite from a first impression and then get stuck there. We meet someone at the Main Street Cafe. The conversation is just warm enough for the heart to crack open, and the rest gets carried by imagination. Jung called this projection. We hang our own images, longings, and fears on the screen of the other parts of ourselves we haven't dared to face. When we haven't yet met our shadow, we paint it out there. Sometimes we idealize and place them on an altar. Every gesture suddenly means something. Sometimes we tease and diminish them, a subtle shield to hide the tender fact that we've been touched. Picture Ava, 29, in marketing in Austin. She meets Eli at a workshop. He smiles, asks a few thoughtful questions, and Ava instantly senses calm, mature, ready for a real relationship. From a single meeting, she stitches a whole biography. Eli reads the right books, is emotionally attuned, maybe even a future great dad. If we're honest, we've all done this: snap a photo, then write a novel. On Eli's face, Ava is really looking at an ideal inside her. Her own hunger for safety she hasn't yet built within. That's projection. What we worship in another is often what's waiting to be acknowledged in ourselves. Now meet Mason, 34, a product manager in Seattle. He's drawn to a colleague, Noor, smart, nuanced. But near Noor, he turns into the jokester at the worst moments. We're just friends, he insists. The joking is persona, the social mask that keeps things safe when the heart wants to step closer. Jung doesn't scold the persona, it's a survival tool. But if we never learn when to set it down, we miss the encounters that don't come twice. Projection isn't just the doorway to romance. It's the seamstress of misunderstanding. In infatuation, every sign, a fast reply, a nod, a chance meeting gets overinterpreted. In fear, every silence, a night offline, a polite decline gets read as rejection. So before we chase signs, make a grown-up pact with yourself. Look for clusters that repeat across time and context before you conclude anything. One snowflake doesn't make a winter. How do they pull the projection back? It did out of throwing it onto them. Try a short nightly drill. Open a notebook and write, what did I pin on them today? If you're overpraising their calm, ask, which part of me needs calm and how did I plan it in my day? If you're criticizing their carelessness, ask, am I envying a freedom I don't allow myself? 3 lines on praise, 3 on blame. You'll notice a small miracle obsession eases your presence grows. Another practice, a 5-minute active imagination with persona and shadow. Close your eyes and set 2 chairs. On one persona, the polite one, the timely smile. On the other shadow, the one who speaks plain, sets limits, says I'm not ready. Ask persona, what are you afraid will happen if I show my feelings? Ask shadow, what do you need to feel respected? Write the dialogue. No mysticism required, just giving the compressed parts of you a language. When these two in you argue less, you stop needing someone else to act out your inner conflict. A gentle American clarification: kindness isn't a confession. How are you is often a ritual. A teammate helping you hit a deadline isn't necessarily romance. Sometimes it's simply competence. So what separates courtesy from interest? Watch for one, a consistency over time. Two, investment noticeably beyond norms. And three, respect for boundaries. They don't push your lines or pressure off-hours meetings when you can't. When those three cluster, the signal's credible. If it's only scattered gestures, smile with gratitude and keep proportions sane. This is also about ethics. Skip the test, provoking jealousy, strategic silence to gauge care. Try the straight path. A small, true sentence: I enjoy our connection. Would you like to spend more time and see where this goes? If it's no, you keep your dignity. If it's yes, you begin on trust. Dating advice often sells tactics. Durable love rarely grows from tricks. It grows from truth. And beware confirmation bias. When we like someone, we cherry-pick proof. Try the reverse test for each signal. Write 3 non-romantic explanations. A fast reply: they were free. A warm smile: basic civility. 3 chance meetings: your city's small. This isn't to pour cold water. It keeps your head clear while your heart is warm. Mature love is where heart and head learn to speak the same language. Let your body vote, because it rarely lies. Thinking of them, do you open or contract? Is breath deeper or shallow? Are your shoulders soft or braced? Warmth with steadiness often track with healthy connection. Tightness, pinches, hypervigilance can signal a projection trying to rescue what you lack. Give your body a ballot in every referendum of the heart. A small community pledge. We're building a channel where people practice conscious love with gentleness toward themselves. If you're ready to pull your projection back, comment, I'm reclaiming my projection. If you'll go deeper, share one quality you often idealize in others and one way you'll cultivate it in yourself this week. Read someone else's share and leave a kind word. Grown communities rise on small gestures like that. When should I speak up? When you've looked inward long enough to tell heart want from lack want. Then your words aren't a net thrown over them. They're an open invitation. In the next part, we'll map the classic advanced retreat rhythm, why the heart inches forward, then hides, how early complexes choreograph that dance, and how to shift from a frantic freestyle to a warm, steady slow dance. When you understand your hesitations, you'll be kinder to yourself and see the other with the room they deserve. For tonight, one tiny assignment: write a 3-line monologue for your persona, its fear of showing feeling. Then 3 lines from your shadow, the thing you don't want to admit but know is true. Tomorrow, I'll read the 6 lines like a stage script. If you feel the hint of an inner smile, you've already moved farther than you think. See you in part 2, where the advanced retreat stops being a maze and starts becoming a map. Imagine your heart as a dancer standing between 2 songs. One invites you forward, the other pulls you back to safety. That advanced retreat rhythm isn't weakness. It's the signature of your emotional history. In Jung's language, those histories live as complexes, semi-autonomous bundles of feeling formed in early relationships that sometimes take the wheel. When a complex is triggered, you might text and then go silent, open up, and then slam the door as if a hand inside you yanks you from the shoreline. If you've ever asked, why do I want to meet and also want to run, part of you isn't just loving. It's trying to survive. Back to Mason and Noor. After weeks of playful banter, Mason finally asks Noor out. The date is warm. He goes home light. Next morning, a harmless text from Noor wakes an old voice: don't hope you'll be left. Mason delays, replies late, turns everything into a joke again. Here the complex acts like a gatekeeper, protecting you from old fear by recreating the very script that once hurt you. Paradoxically, the guard uses the past to keep you safe. Through Jung's eyes, we don't condemn the guard. We learn to speak with it and invite it to change roles from blocker to ally. Start with something ordinary. Name your rhythm. For 3 weeks, anytime you notice the approach and retreat swing, jot the sequence: what triggered it, what you felt in your body, what you did next, and what followed. Patterns appear to be attention, high, fear of rejection, shutdown or silence, anxiety, rapid texting, regret. This isn't a fault-finding exercise. It's a mirror for your dance. Once the pattern is visible, add a new step, a small conscious pause. Freedom slips in through that pause. If you speak the language of attachment, you may notice anxious or avoidant flavors. That frame helps, but in Jung's key, we set it beside complexes to hear the depth. Insecurity isn't just a habit, it's an untold story. Try active imagination. Sit quietly, imagine your inner gatekeeper, maybe a person, an animal, a color. Ask, what are you afraid will happen if I move closer? Thank it, then ask, if I give you a new job, protect me without pushing people away, what would you choose? Don't force answers. Let images speak. It sounds poetic, but it's practical. You translate wordless fear into language you can negotiate with. Jealousy and testing are two faces of the same dance. When we fear asking directly, we stage loyalty tests mentioning someone else to watch their reaction, going suddenly silent to measure care. Every test plants a seed of distrust. Trade tests for small disclosures. I really enjoyed our time. If you did too, I'd love a walk on Saturday. In Jung's tone, directness isn't harsh. It's the adult bridge across the canyon of assumptions. You can't control the answer, but you do choose the kind of love you practice, one brave enough to speak human. What if I keep leaning in and they keep leaning out? The solution isn't tactic, it's tempo. Invite once, maybe twice, then watch reality. If every opening you make is met with a close, if plans are always next week with no date, if words are warm but calendars never open, trust data over daydreams. Not everyone is playing games. Sometimes they're not ready, or they're kind but don't have a yes to give. In Jung's language, a no doesn't diminish your worth. It simply says, this dance isn't in sync. The kindest act for both is to bow, then return to the rhythm of your own steps. An ethical note on boundaries in the approach-retreat cycle. Many of us carry a rescuer reflex. When they retreat, we chase. When they're messy, we rush to tidy. Ask, do I love this person or the feeling of being needed? Chronic rescuing reinforces their complex and yours. A worthwhile challenge is to stand in the open space, give them room without punishing, be kind without self-erasing. Try, I care about you, I'm here when you're ready to connect. If not, I understand and wish you ease. Not dramatic, just your heart standing on its own feet. Let the body be your compass. Before and after each interaction, check 4 points. Breath, neck, shoulders, chest, belly. After a good exchange, breath deepens, shoulders drop, chest warms, belly softens. That's opening. If breath shortens, shoulders tense, chest feels heavy, belly tightens, you may be moving too fast or a complex has the wheel. Don't scold yourself. Simply slow down, hand to chest, and whisper to the gatekeeper. I hear you, we'll go slow. When the body is soothed, the heart chooses less defensive words. To avoid confirmation bias, recruit a trusted friend as a mirror. Share facts, not spin how many dates, who initiated which, concrete invites were accepted or declined. Ask them to be an attorney for reality. What other readings fit the data that aren't romantic? Not to kill hope, to give hope feet. Hope with feet doesn't drag you away from yourself. Let's make this a community practice. If you're unlearning tests and learning small disclosures, drop one line in the comments. I choose small honesty over secret tests. If you see someone attempting the same step, offer one kind sentence. This isn't a scoreboard. It's a place to relearn emotional walking, slow but steady, so when a warm hand appears, you can hold it without asking that hand to heal your history. Return to dreams, not for fortune-telling, but for compensation. When you're pushing too fast, dreams may show long corridors with closed doors. When you're stuck retreating, they may stage a lively party. Don't pin dreams on the other person. Ask, which attitude in me is the dream adjusting? Give the dream a title circle. 3 symbols and write 1 present life association for each. Over time, fear leads less. The quiet intelligence of the unconscious leads more. Where we're headed next, we've named the approach retreat rhythm and learned to speak with the inner gatekeeper. Next time, we'll leave the inner choreography to read the obvious surface that's rich with clues, quiet acts of care, durable kindness, and healthy boundaries. You'll learn to tell the difference between genuine acts of service, cultural politeness, and rescuing dressed up as love. So your relationships have soil to grow in, not just a vase for display. We'll give kindness a spine so it can stand soft and tall. If the last chapter was about pulling back projections and listening for the advanced retreat rhythm, this one asks us to touch a material that seems obvious but carries real weight, quiet acts of care. In the US, politeness can blur signals. How are you may be ritual, a to-go coffee may be teamwork. So how do we tell steady kindness from professional courtesy and both from rescue wearing love's mask? Jung's tone, we don't hunt for omens. We read patterns, conscious repetition, respect for boundaries, proportion to context. Shadow can dress up as the angelic caregiver, and persona can smile while a hunger to be needed never gets full. What pattern do you actually see? Return to Ava and Eli. After a workshop, Eli brings donuts for everyone. He checks on workload now and then. One snowy night, Ava finds her windshield cleared. Eli cleared the whole row, not just hers. That's system kindness. Good action, non-exclusive, no demand for a signal back. Next week he leaves. Good luck on your pitch notes for every presenter. Again, broad spectrum kindness. Contrast that with the person who helps only when you're present, lingers in touch, and keeps making you the center of their caretaking goal-directed kindness. The difference isn't in a single gesture, but the model over time: who is cared for how long, within what boundary, and only by invitation. Which pattern are you in? Use the 40 filter for every caring act you receive. Duration: is care steady over time, or only when you are vulnerable? Deviation: does it clearly go beyond group norms just for you, or is it general courtesy? Discretion: is it quiet and not performative? Delimitation: are boundaries honored? No pressure, no intrusion, no dropping by your private life unasked. If all four glow for weeks, you're likely seeing heart-born kindness. If only one or two flicker, it may be everyday civility, valuable, but don't romanticize it. If duration is low, while deviation and delimitation are dim, lots of care, little boundary, be alert. Rescue may be borrowing your life to patch its emptiness. Which D lights up most in your story? Jung would ask, which part of you answers these gestures? If your shadow carries a rescuer complex, survival by caretaking, you'll be magnetized to situations that need saving. Persona will smile. It's no big deal while your body is tired and secretly craves someone to switch roles and care for you. Be candid. Do you like them or the feeling of being useful? And if you expect others to read needs you never voice, are you inviting a weary game? Begin with inner dialogue, then speak outside. What does your body say when you receive care? Soften or brace? Active imagination, meet your inner caretaker. Warm face, busy hands, ask, when did you start caring for others? What do you fear if I stop? Wait, then renegotiate. From now on, your first task is to care for me. Sleep warm, eat warm, say no when overloaded. When my tank is full, we'll care for others only when asked. Within a week, you may notice your kindness becomes quieter and clearer, no longer a trade for belonging, just right action. What new rule does your caretaker need? Remember, the other side acts of service may be their love language. Receivers also have work. Name boundaries, acknowledge, well, don't exploit. Try 3 short lines. Thank you for watching. I genuinely felt supported. I'm comfortable with waiting. I'm not ready for ma. If you'd like to help in the future, I'll ask thank you for understanding. These keep the heart's door open without leaving the house unlocked. Which sentence do you need tonight? Common mix-up: treating steady kindness as proof of love and rushing to repay with commitment. Steadiness can flow from personal values, professionalism, or the joy of giving. Jung invites us to look beneath the act to intentio. More isn't always righter. Right is what fits person, moment, and context. In U.S. workplaces, HR may require distance. Overhelping can put both in a bind. Kindness with boundaries is kindness that knows when to stop. Where is enough for you? From the giver's side, use micro-boundaries, so care doesn't become pressure. Not, I booked dinner, please come, but I'll be at 7. I'd love to host you, and it's truly fine if not. Not, I'm driving you home, but I can drive you if you want. If not, all good, just tell me. Freedom is the oxygen for affection. As a receiver, answer clear, short, warm. Thanks for the invite. This week's packed, Thursday 7 p.m. works. Respectful pacing lets feeling grow without debt. What's your next clean invite or reply? Run a 2-4-week observation board for incoming care. Each time, log the objective event, context, body sensation, and a non-romantic alternative reading. At the end, mark repeats with the 4D filter. This doesn't desacralize love. It protects you from confirmation bias. With data in hand, if you want to open the door, do it with a modest invitation. If not, say thanks and keep your boundary minus the guilt. What pattern did your board reveal? Beware codependency. Two people tying each other with care instead of truth. A feels valuable when needed. B feels safe when rescued. A house of doing replaces a house of saying until fatigue collapses it. Jung's remedy is conscious mutuality. I value your support. To balance, I can do how I hang this week. And I'd like you to tell me directly what you need, don't guess. Mutuality isn't repayment. It's transparent exchange, so both stand upright. What fair exchange would steady you this week? Back to the body, our default early warning system. After a caring act, ask 4 questions. Do I feel lifted or indebted? Open or tight? Approach or avoid? If they vanished, would I collapse? If the first 3 tilt toward lift, open, approach, and the last is no, the gesture nourishes. If not, you may have signed a silent contract, debt paid by unfree reciprocation. Return it with 1 warm, proportionate line. What contract needs returning today? Community invitation if you've confused care with rescue or kindness with commitment. Comment, I choose kindness with boundaries. If you tried the 4D filter this week, share 1 insight, anonymous if needed. What turned out to be courtesy? What proved to be care? Your share warms the room and helps newcomers find a seat. Which insight will you gift the circle? From here, the next bridge appears. We've learned to read the language of small acts and set boundaries so kindness can stand tall without going rigid. Next comes the inner language, dreams, meaningful coincidences, intuition. We'll interpret dreams by compensation. No fortune-telling, separate synchronicity from ordinary coincidence, no mystifying, and let intuition speak without getting hijacked by anxiety. When outer acts are clear and inner images are bright, feeling if it wants, finds its path, not judgment, just meeting. Some nights you wake with the aftertaste of a strange image, an empty train station, a half-open door, a small bird perched on someone's shoulder whose name you can't quite recall. There's no confession, no fireworks, just a sense that something wants to be seen. In Jung's language, that is how the unconscious sends mail, brief, symbolic, often countercurrent to our daytime agenda. If by day you try to stamp out a feeling, by night, the dream compensates, bringing it back softly but insistently. In a culture where productivity is a mandate, it's easy to file dreams under noise. But if you want your love life to be guided by both heart and head, you have to relearn the inner language, dreams, meaningful coincidences, and a quiet intuition. Start with dreams. Jung called their primary function compensation. What waking consciousness neglects, the unconscious supplies. If you've denied your stirrings towards someone, the dream may place them in a comically ordinary scene, waiting in a grocery line, sitting on a stoop after the rain, yet the afterglow is unusually warm. Dreams don't predict who's thinking of you. They mirror your attitude. Title the dream like a song at the corner, the half-open door, then circle 3 symbols that stand out. For each symbol, write a single line of free association. What does it echo in your current concern? Don't rush to meanings. Simply notice which way those 3 lines pull you: softer, straighter, braver, or slower. Next, synchronicity, so often mystified. In a Jungian key, it isn't broadcast energy or some quantum romance drift. It's a causal yet meaningful link between an inner state and an outer event. You're wrestling with should I reach out, and you pass a sign that reads use side door just as you glance at the cafe's side path. That afternoon, the person you're thinking of happens to sit by that very door. Not magic, simply a mind saturated with intent, reading the world like a text. Synchronicity is a hint toward meaning, not a certificate of truth. Keep your head with the 3T filter. T1. Be truthful about base rates. Coincidences happen every day. T2. Be tender about ethics. Any action must respect boundaries and the other's freedom. T3. Test long for time. Does the meaning hold after a few weeks, or was it a surface ripple? About intuition, many of us confuse it with anxiety. A simple tell intuition speaks briefly, clearly, without theatrics. Anxiety speaks at length, argues, and scripts worst-case scenes. Intuition opens the body, anxiety tightens it. If a short directive rises, slow down, make 1 small invitation. No text tonight, try it for 24 hours and observe. You don't have to be right. You're training body and mind to speak the same language. After a month, you'll know which inner voice deserves your trust. To avoid confirmation bias and apophenia, seeing shapes in clouds, keep a humble page titled Other Explanations. Each time you note a sign, list two columns, romantic reading versus ordinary reading. Example, they chose the seat beside you. Romantic, they wanted closeness. Ordinary, that's where the outlet was. If a synchronicity is truly carrying weight, it will survive this little test. The rest evaporates like mist, and you'll spare yourself a whiplash of false hope. Another Jung-style tool, active imagination with recurring symbols. If the bird keeps returning, invite it to the table. Ask, what are you the messenger for that I'm missing that may answer Wart News? Don't turn me into a speech. Then ask, what do you want me to do within 24 hours? If the reply is send a one-line invitation, then you know the step's small but true. The point isn't to invent stories. It's to give the unconscious a channel so you stop forcing the outer world to carry your inner work. Set ethical guardrails. Any reading, dream, synchronicity, intuition stops where consent and boundaries begin. If a sign urges you to overstep limits the other has named, that isn't intuition. That's desire wearing a mystical costume. In Jung's voice, ethics isn't a rigid law. It's an inner posture. I protect both my dignity and your freedom. Love, when it's real, wants to bloom in clean air. Can I use dreams or synchronicity to decide whether to speak up? Use them for counsel, not for outsourcing your choice. Build a decision triangle. 1. Facts, reciprocity, timing, and consistency. 2. Dream symbol, what compensatory nudge is invited, slow down or open up. 3. Ethics/boundary, does the action preserve respect? When all three corners point the same way, a quiet ease appears, the right condition for one small step. Also remember, many dreams want you to meet yourself first. A Boston friend dreamed for 2 weeks about fixing a wobbly table. She thought it was their dinner table. It turned out to be her desk. The loose leg was her erratic sleep schedule. Once she fixed it, she was less reactive in every interaction. Curiously, when she no longer needed signs, honest moments showed up. The unconscious isn't against you, it's against your habits, so you and you can finally meet. Watch for enantiodromia. The psyches swing to the opposite pole when we go too far one way. Too much unconditional giving snaps into coldness. Too much structure pops into rebellion. Dose yourself with microbalance. 1. No between 2. Yeses. 1 breath between 2 stories. 1 slow date between 2 busy weekends. That's conscious compensation you steer instead of fate jerking the wheel. We also promise to meet 3 strict teachers of the number line, 7, 8, and 9, as lived experiments rather than blind belief image before concept lived, data before belief. Begin with 7, the seeker depth without disembodiment. Practice the 7-7-7 ritual 3 times a day. Pause 70 seconds to feel 7 body points, feet, knees, belly, chest, shoulders, neck, eyes. Only feel, no analysis. Try a well with lantern visualization and ask 3 questions. What fear keeps me on the rim? What is 1 drop of truth today? How will I carry it into tomorrow? Then 1 embodied act per day, cook, lift weights, 10 minutes. Call a friend and name feelings in simple words. Don't inflate signs. Note also the days with none. Sometimes your symbol is just a decent lunch. Feminine, masculine here aren't it gender boxes. They're inner qualities we all carry. Eros, connection, sensing, nurture. Logos, clarity, structure, discernment. When Eros and Logos marry within the inner house is no longer empty. Picture a very American morning Google Calendar, packed Slack pinging, and you long loyal to Logos already sprinting. Logos got you far. Without Eros, the schedule becomes a guillotine. Flip it, and pure Eros burns out without Logos. The art isn't switching sides, it's setting the table for both. AM 30 minutes for Eros, silence dream notes, slow coffee, then hand the reins to Logos. 3 priorities. Clear call boundaries. Midday, a seat for Eros, 1 breath, 1 body felt question. Afternoon, the mic to Logo, 1 small firm decision. At night, Eros and Logos clean the kitchen together, simple, unfancy, and it changes a life's climate. We'll close this chapter the way Jung liked best, by keeping it communal and practical. If you want companions, step into our warm kitchen, comment 7 days, 1 lamp, and say which day you'll start, or name 1 boundary sentence you'll practice this week. When many practice together, meaning ripens best. In a soft bridge forward, we've learned to dialogue with inner images, to separate meaning from superstition, and to listen to intuition with the body, not with anxious scripts. But love can't live forever in symbols. It needs language between two people, short, clean sentences built on respect and boundaries. In the next part, we'll distill that into the art of adult communication. 3 small reveal frames, 3 soft boundary frames, and how to receive a no without shrinking. The most beautiful thing isn't decoding every sign. It's 2 free people choosing to step toward each other, slow, clear, and kind. If the earlier parts helped us call projections home, rid the dance of advance and retreat, distinguish kindness from rescuing, and listen to the voice of dreams, then this part is where we bring it all into life between 2 people. The art of mature communication. Jung never wrote a flirting skills manual. He showed that when persona can be set down at the right moment and shadow stops speaking in loops, the heart finds a language that is simple and true. That's the language we'll train. Now short, clear sentences grounded in respect and boundaries, so that if a connection wants to bloom, it has real soil. And if not, you still leave the meeting with dignity, no bitterness, no self-diminishing. Let's begin with the ladder of expressing from whisper to voice, one steady, courageous step at a time. Step 1 is a small expression like placing a leaf on water. I genuinely enjoyed our time together. If you did too, I'd love a slow walk at North Hill Park this Saturday afternoon. If this week is packed for you, no worries. I'm open to another time. The tone of a small expression doesn't bargain and doesn't cast a net. It invites freedom. Step 2 is a gentle request with a soft boundary. I'd like to spend more time getting to know you. I'm comfortable with coffee or a walk. I'm not ready for late nights. If that fits you, I'm glad. If not, I understand. Step 3 is warm clarity once there is mutual signal. I value your steady presence. If you'd like to explore dating, I want to try. If you see us as friends, I'll respect that and adjust. On every rung, speak adult to adult, brief, honest, no excuses. To keep the ladder from turning into a rope that drags you down, place a 3-point compass beside it, sharpened in the earlier parts. Point 1 data: who initiates, how often, what is the quality of time. Drop all inner narratives, write only what a camera would see. Point 2, compensation via dreams and intuition. If a dream invites you to slow down, actually slow down. If intuition whispers 1 line, 1 invite, don't send an essay. Point 3, ethics/boundaries. Does your sentence honor the other's freedom? Leave a gentle exit for both and avoid pushing decisions onto the other to escape your own anxiety. When all 3 point to the same spot, your body settles, chest opens, breath deepens, neck and shoulders drop, and that's the moment to speak. A lot of efficiency-minded Americans ask, is there a way to speak that minimizes misunderstanding? Yes, try the 4R cycle. Reveal, request, reality check, reciprocity. Reveal a light opening of your inner state. I find our connection easy and I'm curious about you. Request a concrete invite. Thursday at 7, can I take you for hot tea at the little spot on Maple? Reality check. Put a meter on real life. If this week doesn't work, would you propose a time that does reciprocity? Extend a hand for mutual comfort. If you need anything to feel at ease, leaving early, a quieter place, say the word, I'll respect it. You're not demanding instant answers or cornering anyone. You're inviting a slow dance with room to breathe. What about when the answer is no? In Jung's tone, no is a ritual of dignity, not a death sentence for self-worth. 3 lines help you stand tall. Thank you for being direct. I appreciate the clarity. I'm disappointed and I'll adjust so things stay comfortable between us. Wishing you well, and if there's anything I should do to honor your boundary, let me know. Then step out of the conversation and do 3 small acts to gather yourself a 10-minute phone-free walk. 3 lines to shadow, what am I afraid of, and how will I hold that part myself? In a text to yourself as if to a close friend, I chose clarity. That's something to be proud of. You don't need to erase sadness. You need to let it pass without breaking the banks. If the answer is yes, don't let joy make you forget the discipline of clarity. Agree early on 3 things: a cadence of time once or twice a week, a primary channel and response window, so silence isn't overinterpreted, and current boundaries, sleep work, existing commitments. When agreements are spoken aloud, each person's shadow has less need to pound on the door. You still leave room for the natural to unfold, but you stop forcing every quiet moment to carry the weight of reading signals. A follow-on from part one that matters right here: take responsibility for projection inside each sentence. Before you hit send, ask, am I speaking to this person or to the image I've pinned on them? If it's the image, pause and rewrite. Shift, you make me feel safe too. When I'm with you, a calmer part of me shows up, and I'm learning to build that space even when I'm alone. The second line returns the projection to its owner. It opens a door to truth without turning the other into medicine. Same with praise, make it specific and right-sized. I value how you listen. You leave just enough silence for me to find the words. Specific praise is light. Projected praise is wildfire. It's hard to practice these small but difficult moves alone. So join this channel's community commitment this week. Do one small expression and one soft boundary. If you choose the small expression, share the exact line you plan to use. A non is fine in the comments. If you choose the soft boundary, post the sentence you'll use when you're at capacity. I love the invite, and I'm max this week. I'm free next Thursday at 7. If someone's line resonates, reply with a single word, clear or warm, as our way to measure the quality of the language we're learning together. Communities grow not from long speeches, but from short sentences that are actually lived. Don't forget the repair right after a misstep, because humans stay clumsy. If you tested instead of expressing repair on the spot, I just noticed I was trying to measure your feelings instead of asking. I'm sorry. If you're open, I'd like to say clearly what I'm hoping for. Late transparency beats long darkness. Shadow quiets down when called by its right name. And if you overread a sign, don't punish yourself. Journal 3. Ordinary explanations for the event. Then do one body care act. Warm shower, fresh sheets, 10 minutes of sun. Respecting the body is the fastest way out of your head and back to here and now. All of this, the ladder of expressing, the 3-point compass, the 4R cycle, the ritual of receiving no, the duty to own projection, isn't pretty theory. It's a roof over a tender garden. Under that shelter, you and another person can plant something to test the soil, a slow conversation, a short walk a morning, have a gentle day text. If the seed sprouts, water it. If not, take down the roof, thank the ground, and move on with clean hands. That's Jung's ethic of feeling loving, not to win, but to become someone who can love without shrinking anyone, including yourself. Here's the soft bridge into the closing. We've learned to look inward so we don't cast someone into our shadow's role, to read, approach, and withdraw as footprints of a story, to separate kindness from rescuing, to listen for dreams and compensatory meaning, and to distill all of it into a two-person language that is clear, brief, warm, and bounded. In the finale, I'll offer a small hymn to integrity, where the good one and the wild one in you stop arguing and love becomes less a tactic and more an art of living. We'll finish with a 7-day consolidation rite and an invitation to tend the fire in this community. One small expression, one soft boundary, one recorded dream each week. I'll meet you there where freedom and belonging hold hands without dropping anyone. Perhaps the most beautiful outcome of everything we've explored today isn't knowing whether someone loves you. It's the way your heart has learned to stand upright in front of yourself. In Jung's language, it's that moment when persona sets the mask down, shadow stops pounding on the door, and the quiet core of you smiles. I can love without shrinking anyone and without shrinking myself. From here, if a relationship wants to blossom, it will find you like a gardener who has tilled the soil. No forcing the season, no begging for miracles, only patience and kindness. And if it doesn't blossom, you still keep the garden a tended space where you and you can meet again. Let me weave a simple ritual into your hands for the next 7 days. Each day, keep 3 small covenants, 1 sincere expression, 1 soft boundary, and 1 dream recorded. A sincere expression sounds like adult to adult clarity, not a fishing net. I enjoyed our time. Would you like to take a walk Thursday at 7? If not, no worries. A soft boundary keeps the home without slamming the door. This week is full for me. I'm free Friday evening. If that works for you, I'd love that. And your dream record. 3 lines upon waking, titled The Dream. Like a song, circle a symbol and ask, what compensation is this dream offering to my current attitude? Slow down, be braver, or simply breathe deeper. 3 tiny moves done steadily begin to align body and psyche into one language. What will your 3 be tomorrow morning? Pin the ritual where you'll see it, a little note on the mirror with 3 words: clear, warm, boundaried. Clear to say what you mean without circling. Warm to speak as a human being, not a script. Boundaried to remember that mature love blooms in rooms with doors, locks, and invitations, not in spaces left forever wide open. As you practice these 3 words, you'll notice you stop hunting for signs out there. You're not colder, you're simply less hungry. And when you're less hungry, you can taste. Which word do you most need today, clear, warm, or boundaried? Carry this humility with you. Synchronicity isn't a magic wand, it's a courteous hint from meaning. Dreams aren't weather reports, they're balancing letters. Projection isn't a moral failure, it's how we love what we don't yet own. When you see this, you go gentler on yourself and on others. You let beautiful coincidences walk beside you like guests without forcing them to sign a contract. You say thank you for this instead of this must mean. What might soften in your life if you related to signs, dreams, and projections this way? Before you head out, leave a small footprint here as our community ritual. Begin your comment with coming home with self, then share 2 things. 1 meaning you took for yourself and 1 tiny lamp you'll light in the next 48 hours. For example, I mistake quiet for abandonment. I'll try the 5-minute oil lamp ritual before calling my partner. You can also leave a question about boundaries, active imagination, or how to read a dream symbol, and I'll gather them for future videos. What sentence will you anchor with tonight? If this video served you, subscribe and tap the bell. Not to feed the algorithm, but so that when life gets loud, you have a warm kitchen light to come home to each week. Share this with a friend standing at the water's edge. Sometimes a single lamp is enough to help them step onto the bridge. I've put a 1-page C chart in the description, key questions, a breathing ritual, and boundary phrases to stick on your fridge. You don't have to memorize everything. You only need to remember where the map lives. Who could use that small lamp from you today? Place your palm on your chest like we did at the start and listen for 3 beats. Influence isn't noise. It's the quiet consistency of someone who knows what they serve. Eros isn't a wild horse to be broken. It's a river you learn to channel through thirsty fields. Shadow isn't the enemy. It's a messenger waiting for you to open with your true name. And each evening, 5 minutes, 1 candle, 1 honest word is you doing your part for the soul. If a single sentence were your companion this month, let it be, I choose integrity over short-term wins, meaning over instant gratification. What word will you lay by your candle tonight? Friend, if you've stayed with me this far, maybe your inner tempo is slower than the street outside. We touch deep currents, persona and shadow. The Great Mother's 2 hands, the anima/animus bridge between eros and logos, the waves of projection and compensation, fireworks of intensity, and the intimacy of a small lamp. When the pieces settle, they're not a verdict, they're a map home. Jung would say the soul doesn't demand perfection, it asks for honesty. Where do you feel invited to be honest right now with yourself? I'll be here at a simple desk with a pen reading the letters the unconscious sends each week. If there is something you want me to go deeper on, next time, say a focused guide on intuition and anxiety or a short map for the early stages of dating, tell me in the comments. We'll build a posting calendar together from your real questions. This channel isn't mine alone. It belongs to a circle of people learning to love in ways that make us larger, not smaller. What topic would serve your next small, honest step? And when you stand up now, take 1 very small, very true step toward what matters. A single line invitation, a warm no, or a dream title on a fresh page. Big roads begin with moves like these, unseen but life-altering. Which small step will you take before midnight?